"Sure," I said. "Be glad to." "Obliged," he said. "See you, boys." I stepped around behind the corral and took hold of the mare's reins. Thane held Julie's elbow as they walked away together, and he seemed to be talking to her with considerable feeling. Of course, I couldn't hear what he was saying, but whatever it was, Julie didn't seem to be making any reply. She just walked on with a stubborn set to her shoulders and her head held high. I couldn't help noticing, though, that just as they turned up the path to the house, Julie took a last quick look back over her shoulder at Billy. During the next week, Doughbelly Pierce, the roundup cook, began readying the wagons, checking the tents and tarps for rips and holes, and making such other repairs as were needed. 4 more cowpunchers showed up at the ranch and rolled out their beds in the bunkhouse. Most of the boys had worked together before, so there was considerable joshing and tale-telling concerning times remembered. Waco picked out the horses for each rider's string, and I practiced some in the corral at roping them for the boys. Most nights there was a poker game in the bunkhouse. Using matches as chips, the boys would play against their future earnings, and I generally sat in until the last hand was played. I have never been what you could call a good poker player, but I tend to be lucky, which is even better. The old-timers in the outfit would lay in their beds and try to sleep while the rest of us played. That was no easy task. Most of our games tended toward the raucous. Finally, some old cowpuncher would lose his patience and threaten to go to shooting if some loudmouth sons of bitches didn't shut the hell up and blow out the lamp, and the game would end for the night. Billy Christmas never took part in the card-playing, but laid there in his sugans and thought his own thoughts until sleep overtook him. As it turned out, the boys who didn't play turned out to be the wise ones, but wisdom has little show when a feller's bent on having fun. Doughbelly Pierce, the bean master I mentioned earlier, had the reputation of being cranky as a constipated bear, but he seemed to be in good humor that week. Every night he brewed up a pot of strong black coffee for us poker players, and every night we drank the pot dry. I have to admit that after about the 3rd day of trying to work those cowboy-broke horses on too little sleep, I began to question Doughbelly's generosity some. The coffee had another effect on some of us, especially me. It has been truly said that a man only rents coffee, and I was reminded of that truth one night about an hour after I'd fell asleep. At first I tried to keep snoozing and ignore my urgings, but they just came back stronger. Finally, I got up and stumbled out of the bunkhouse hunting for relief.